Good afternoon, brothers, sisters, and siblings, and welcome back to the Vibe Too Many podcast, a special episode where the state we live in is completely covered in smoke. I, of course, am your host, KJ Collelo, joined once again by...
Ashton Byrne. I came back from vacation and everything was on fire.
Yeah! We pulled Ashton out of the cube, we got Robin back in the cube, and now everything's on fire. Some sort of divine intervention of sorts, I guess? I don't know.
Robin did it.
Yeah, Robin's causing the plagues.
He is. Yes. We're gonna go into which stage of the plague we're in real soon.
Oh god, Robin's gonna kill all of the children.
Yeah, but only if you don't have the blood of the lamb at your doorstep.
Yeah, so everyone go slaughter a lamb so Robin doesn't kill your fucking child.
But you have to like pray and then kill it, or kill it and then pray. There's a way. I don't know.
Make sure you get it right. But yes, we are in that season where the world is on fire. So,
as per usual.
No. I don't know. Time to do a podcast, I guess. What the fuck else can I do? More tragic news came this past week since we filmed the last episode. And it's the legendary character actor Sam Neill passed away.
Sam Neill is dead and Alec Baldwin isn't. And that's sad.
Why couldn't it have been Alec Baldwin?
Fuck! Just scraped that one right by. Also, I'm bald. The cube made me bald.
Oh, yeah. It was part of your strife to get out of the cube.
Yeah.
Would you say your strife to get out of the cube is more like the movies we're going to talk about today, or is it more like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
I would hope the movies we're going to talk about today, because these ones are, like, actually good.
Sam Neill, I wanted to eulogize here, because Sam Neill is one of my favorite actors of all time. Look, he did Jurassic Park. You can't not look at his character in Jurassic Park and not get, like, hype. He's Dr. Alan Grant. It is one of my favorite performances in a movie. That role was so clearly written for Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah.
That's like Spielberg coming off of working with him on the Indiana Jones films. He's the cool, handsome guy. That's so clearly Harrison Ford, but Harrison Ford had turned it down. I think it's so much better that they went with Sam Neill. Because Sam Neill was a character actor. He wasn't like this big name or anything. And so you never look at that character like it's not Alan Grant. Yeah. You're not like, oh, that's Harrison Ford playing Alan Grant. You're like, that's Dr. Alan Grant, the paleontologist. And then also, he's got a slew of other great work. He was in Peaky Blinders, Event Horizon. Fucking great horror movie, Event Horizon. Yeah, may he rest in peace.
Hats, if I had a hat, it would be off to you.
So yes, if you weren't here last week, we have a big episode today. And we are playing a bit of a role reversal. Usually how these episodes go is we meet, we come up with ideas, and then Ashton and I watch the movies, I build out an outline, and then I kind of run point, working us through the outline. Well, today, this episode was completely Ashton's idea, and it's kind of up Ashton's expertise, so I was like, hey, what if we switched roles?
And we did.
So we have main character Ashton now.
Hi.
So Ashton, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about embracing the unknown.
Ooh. Yeah, today we're going to be embracing the unknown and having Ashton lead is unknown for us too. Before we get into talking about the unknown of Secret of NIMH, why don't you give us a little backstory?
So, obviously this was animated by Don Bluth. He was the writer and director for this. This was his first feature after leaving Disney. He felt a lot of the output at Disney at the time was very safe, commercial friendly. He wanted stories made by Disney to be more, not mature, but like, he wanted them to take more risks story-wise. Also, he wanted to go back to traditional animation methods. This was 2D animated. They used, like, cells. This started off, they animated when Don Bluth got a couple animators from Disney. They were working in his house. Can we talk about Don Bluth's style?
Something we brought up a few episodes ago, funnily enough, when we were talking about Shadow Lord, Mall Shadow Lord.
Yes.
Is the backgrounds, how cool the backgrounds were. Don Bluth's animation is amazing, top down, but I found myself like looking into the background a lot. Like when they're kind of going through that swamp or whatever area,
and those are
Miss Brisby's making her way home.
Traditional matte paintings.
Yeah,
that's because that's how they did it.
The sword fight between Jenner and Justin later on is hard. Is maybe the best animated fighting sequence I've ever seen.
And that stuff is hard. It's really hard.
It is. It's
characters
hard to do in person.
Directly interacting like that. Yes,
but it is so well done. Like from a story standpoint too, but from an animation standpoint, the way that their fluidity and their movement, they don't feel like drawings.
When they hit each other, you feel it.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do in person, let alone with a drawing. Each character looks and feels so different, but you can also understand who they are just from looking at them. You have Jenner, you have the Great Owl, who is Nicodemus with his beard. Mrs. Brisby is another one where she's like a lot smaller than the other characters, but she's a mouse, not a rat. She's a mouse, not a rat. She has the red cape, so it stands out amongst all the other, like, blues and the lighter, cooler tones of the backgrounds. Yeah, people like Jeremy. No, not Justin. Jeremy. Justin, I'm thinking of. Jeremy's the crow. Jeremy's another one. He has the red... he has the red string. He has a string around him, and he's great. He's just awesome.
Actually, I was going to say something about Jeremy, where, yes, he serves literally nothing to the plot, but where I never... hated it. Like, I had fun with him.
You appreciate him on screen.
He spends half the movie flailing around stuck in one thing or another. That always looked really good animation-wise.
Yes, and that's another thing that's hard, is you feel the impact. And also for the sound designers who have to make the sounds of him bumping into shit all the time.
When you were talking about the sword fighting and how difficult that is to animate, I did want to say, like, that is also a huge shout out to the sound department.
Yes.
For making you feel those impacts of the rapiers.
Yes, yeah. And again, wonderful use of color when you get the shot of him being stabbed by Justin, and it's the bright red against the blues and the cooler tones of his suit. And it's just like, it sticks out so much. They know what they're doing. And this was Don Bluth's, like, first full he did this movie.
Yeah.
And already, he's like, nobody does this shit like him.
I think that's kind of in service. Like, the fact he wasn't... He's kind of... His career to this point has been, like, doing already incredible work. Like, his work with Disney is very good.
Yes.
But still being told no constantly to kind of finally break out of that and being like, all right, we're doing things my way.
Yes. You have to respect it.
100%. That's what any artist wants to do when they get freedom, is being like, I want to do everything everyone has said no to now. Oh, what's that? You think you want movies to be safer now? Well, I'm gonna kill a bunch of people in this children's movie.
A bunch of people just fucking die in this.
They kill Nicodemus. I was waiting when I was watching this movie. I'm 26 years old. Fun fact, this is the first time I've watched this one. I was waiting for, like, Nicodemus to come out and being like, oh, it was just my cape was trapped there. No, that motherfucker got smushed.
No, he's just fucking dead.
He's dead as shit. He's a really protagonist dead. That you super like, dead. That you're rooting for, that Don Bluth is like, you're gonna watch Jenner and murder him.
You're gonna watch Jenner kill him. And he does. Usually they at the last minute, they're like, they stop it, but no, he's successful.
Nope, he's fucking dead. You're like, Jesus Christ. And then they keep killing people. Because you have all of the mice that were like, trying to move the house. You have Nicodemus. You have Jenner is stabbed and you see him bleed. And then his crony, like the fat guy.
His crony kills him.
Kills him and then dies himself.
Yes, his last wish is to kill fucking Jenner. Also, the movie starts with the line, Mr. Brisby died today.
With death! There's so much death here.
Also, the bunch of mice that die in Nim.
Yeah.
They fall down a fucking vent.
This whole movie is about embracing the unknown. This whole episode's about embracing the unknown. And Don Bluth himself is kind of doing that in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, this was, like, unheard of at the time, was anybody competing with Disney for animation. I wanted to highlight the cast. Crazy good vocal performances. Yeah. Elizabeth Hartman is Mrs. Brisby, the Great Owl, who's played by John Carradine.
Fun fact about John Carradine, an old Hollywood legend, but also his kids. I think he had 2 or 3 sons that wound up having immaculate careers. Keith Carradine, in my favorite TV show of all time, Deadwood, he plays Wild Bill Hickok. Dexter, he did Dexter. His kids wound up having great careers, and John Carradine has such a cool goddamn speaking voice in this.
It is, like, haunting. It, like, booming, haunting voice that really sticks out at you.
You never really know what he's gonna do. You're like, is he gonna eat?
Is she also gonna die?
This movie does a lot of that, so I could see that happening.
Yes.
His opening is he eats the fucking spider, or he steps on the spider, rather. Like, violently.
Talking about booming performances, we don't have just one, we have 2, with Derek Jacobi as Nicodemus.
Yeah.
KJ, do you want to give your thoughts on Nicodemus? I know you have a lot of them.
I don't know if I do have a lot. I think he's just tight as fuck, man. Like,
he's this very
old
cool
Gandalf-style wizard. One of my favorite things about Nicodemus in this is he begins the movie. You never are really clear on his intentions for a while.
No.
You don't know.
There's a lot of mystery. Just like Mrs. Brisby, you are kind of literally going through this in her shoes, where you have no idea what anyone's intentions are. Yes.
But then when he tells the whole story about the Rats of Nim and how Mr. Brisby had saved them, you start to trust him, and then it gets to the point when Nicodemus is literally fucking murdered.
Because he wants to save her. Yeah, you do.
You feel it. Again, you're kind of like, me as an adult man was like, but he's going to come out, right? Nope.
Paul Shenar, I think it's Shenar, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, is Jenner, who's also really good.
He's conniving, he's very, like...
It's scary, though.
Almost a little Christopher Lee in there.
It is.
Not quite that, like, depth or anything, but there is this certain...
a quality
Shakespearean villain to Jenner.
Yes. I would, for sure Shakespearean, with, like, murderous...
He reminds me a lot of Cassius in Julius Caesar.
Yes. It kind of reminds me of Iago a little bit.
He's very conniving and cutthroat. Like, I think Shakespearean is the best way to put... That's kind of a Shakespearean character dynamics. I wouldn't say story, but the character dynamics are very Shakespearean.
Character dynamics for sure, but to remind you, movies at the time, Disney's output was not doing shit like this.
No.
I did want to mention, specifically Jeremy, Dom DeLuise. He adds levity. He adds whimsy. Him and Mrs. Brisby add a whimsical element to this movie, for sure. Especially with their voice acting. You know,
those are probably my 2 favorite vocal performances in the film. Hartman and DeLuise.
There's this sort of magical whimsy surrounding the science behind them creating their home in the Rosebush. And everything that they're able to accomplish requires both science and magic. But the question they're dealing with Jenner versus Nicodemus is the ethics of it. Is it ethically right to steal electricity from these humans? Is it ethically okay to justify stealing?
Especially when they have found an alternative to it.
Yes.
Which, something I really like about this movie, we're talking about the science versus the magic here. The magic in this film is treated very scientific.
Yes. Yeah, there is a science to it.
It's like, yes, this is magic, but to them, this is... You know, if you were to go back and show a caveman astrophysics, that's magic to them.
This is kind of like what I was mentioning, like, at a certain point in time of not knowing something is kind of magical. Yeah.
To the Rats of Nim, all of this magic is kind of like, oh yeah, this is just the science we've studied.
Mrs. Brisby, her bravery is rewarded through the gemstone. This kids movie does not talk down to kids
at all. No,
because we have the element of death, but also
a lot.
moral, philosophical question.
That brings up a great point now, where we talk so much about this movie, and our thesis today is embracing the unknown.
Yes.
And so, how about we talk about how the folks here in the movie embrace the unknown, but also Don Bluth himself starting to embrace the unknown. She kind of does it without hesitation in this, which I like.
Yes.
A lot. She's like, I have to do these things to protect my kids. There's never really a moment where she's like, ooh, I don't know. She's like, I have to do this to protect my kids. I'm going to do it. There's times when, like, Nicodemus is trying to, like, almost hold her back a little bit. But she's like, no, I need to do these things. You know, I will go subdue the cat.
With the cat. Yeah, she does volunteer, and he kind of tries to talk her out of it.
Like, she is so willing to go and embrace the unknown because that's just what she has to do to protect her family. And I think at some point she enjoys it, too.
I think Jenner is a good foil as, like, the opposite, where he 100%. Is so unwilling to embrace the unknown that it hurts the people around him. Quite literally.
I think the interesting thing in this movie is we were talking about how Mrs. Brisby embraces the unknown. I think it's a little bit of an unintentional reflection of Don Bluth himself, where, you know, he left Disney. You left the most powerful animation studio of all time. Like, who's kind
of Jenner in this situation where they are unwilling to embrace things that aren't commercially successful at the time.
Don Bluth leaves his, like, safe job at the moment to go do this other thing.
In his house.
In his fucking house. And, you know, he's there, and it's all in service of the art.
But and this crazy idea he has.
Yeah.
Disney rejected. Disney rejected an adaptation of this book.
I think if you look at Don Bluth as Mrs. Brisby, and you look at the art style, like the art of creation, as his sick kid in the scenario, I think it works as a again, I'm pretty sure unintentional reflection of what Don Bluth was going through. And then the excitement of being able to be like, oh, I get to do all of the things Disney told me no. The unknowingness of, like, is this movie even going to succeed? It's all scary, but he, in that, gets to double down, and he does it, like, full throttle without worrying, without, like, really wavering. And that was the rest of his career after that. He became one of the most influential animators on the
rivaling Disney planet. Every time Disney made a movie, it was a direct response to Don Bluth.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially,
he put Disney, to use like a boxing metaphor here, he put Disney on the back foot.
His success with this movie paved the way for indie animation. I mean, like, we recently got indie animation in theaters again with Amazing Digital Circus. I wanted to shout out to Knights of Guinevere and Gaslight District, which both have their pilots that are also Glitch Studios. You should also check out Sorry About the Mess, which is executive produced by Lily Wachowski. Its Kickstarter page just met its goal. It has a trans main character who's also has, like, magic powers.
Final thought about Secret of NIMH. Holy shit, there's a lot of murder.
Holy shit. And we're gonna get a whole lot more murder.
I'm gonna say Prince a Game of Thrones level of murder.
In Prince of Egypt, there's a lot more murder in this one. Did you get enough murder? Not
in
yet.
The Bible story, there's a lot of murder. I just spit everywhere.
Let's talk about children dying. Ready to talk about children dying?
Yeah, Prince of Egypt. Classic 1990s DreamWorks animation. Classic, one of the biggest movie bombs of all time. One of the saddest ones, really.
Which is unfortunate. Talking about embracing the unknown, the Bible.
Through the Bible.
Through the Bible.
Before we get into all this, just like we did with Secret of NIMH, Ash, you want to give a little background on the first 2D animated DreamWorks film, right?
Yes, the first 2D animated DreamWorks movie. It was the first concept that Jeffrey Katzenberg had when he left Disney. This is another guy who left Disney. Ironically,
I'm starting to sense
a pattern.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Katzenberg left Disney. He had a crew of 350 Disney and Amblimation, which is Steven Spielberg's animation company.
Which also worked with Don Bluth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. He wanted to adapt Moses into an Indiana Jones kind of style movie, like an adventure movie.
Which he kind of does at times here.
Yeah, but you kind of see that Ten Commandments influence. They got a bunch of biblical scholars, so scholars studying Christianity, Judaism, Islam. They got, I believe, Arab American leaders too, to basically sensitivity read this movie and kind of lead the way in how this would be portrayed.
Movie never comes off as disrespectful, really, to any
No. I mean, there's a lot of people who look at this movie and point out a lot of the accuracies in this, as much as it can, because I know this movie is banned in a lot of.
It's banned in Egypt
countries. This plot starts off with dead children.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the opening song?
It's my favorite song in this movie.
Holy shit! I mean, there's a lot of good songs. It's a musical. There's a lot of good songs in this.
Why don't you tell them who wrote all the music?
Hans Zimmer.
and
Steven Schwartz. Yes.
These guys are both legends. I think Hans Zimmer nowadays is kind of one film scorer who's commonly known.
Besides, Ludwig Göransson?
I think he's more famous than Ludwig Göransson. Okay, do you want me to read through Steven Schwartz's songwriting movies? The movies he's written music for? Godspell, The Prince of Egypt, The Wicked, he wrote the musical Wicked. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pocahontas, Geppetto.
Another banger opening, by the way, in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
All the music in Hunchback is amazing. He's no fucking slouch. He's one of the greatest musical writers in his own right. So they got guys for this. This is a very young Hans Zimmer, if I'm right.
This is like a very early. I mean, this is 1998 Hans Zimmer. The opening song is sung by Ofra Haza as Yocheved. This is the one few people from West Asia that they actually got in this movie, and she's Israeli. Because of course she is.
I'm not gonna speak too much on her because I don't want to assume things that aren't there. But we're selling red flags over here. I'm not the best when it comes to Bible stories. In fact, what I'm about to tell you, I heard from the comedian Moshe Kasher. So, grain of salt when you take this. This movie kind of, and I'm not necessarily saying this is an insult. You change things to make the movie work as you can, but Aaron's very much a supporting character in this film.
Yeah.
But Aaron was very important. Moses never actually saw the Jewish people to their homeland. He dies before that. Aaron is the one that completes the journey. I believe Exodus is written by Aaron. Every interaction in this movie with Moses and Ramesses are unbelievable. Every single interaction.
Bitter.
Every single time.
So much resentment with the two of them. Because there's issues that
there's also they still love each other. They still love each other so much.
Because there's this resentment that SETI founded in both of them by pitting them against each other.
I will say, I have to choose my words carefully with this. There's a certain amount of me that feels for Ramesses. I think he's a bit of a tragic character. In that,
I would say so.
He had, even if he had the best intentions originally, they were kind of forced out of him by his father, and then he really just becomes a mirror of his father because he's been kind of negged into it. It's really tragic. I'm not saying he's a good person. He is the film's antagonist. He's a bad guy. He is killing kids.
He also is. He owns slaves.
Yeah,
so
these are. again, he's bad, but there is a certain amount of tragedy that comes with his evilness.
He does kind of like similar where Moses is able to break out of the teaching that has been forced on him by his adopted family. Ramses is unable to break out of that cycle, so he kind of isn't able to embrace the unknown of what Egypt would look like without owning slaves.
I think part of the way that Moses was able to break out of this mindset is A, he was born of slaves, and B, he didn't have Seti like hammering into him
Up
that
his
he was
ass the whole time.
He was the future of Egypt and he best not fuck everything up. Well, Ramesses did. He had all of that, and I think that's what beat him down. Again, I'm not saying he's a good person. I think he's an evil person. But I think there is tragedy
constantly has his father speaking in his head that he's unable to really break out of this cycle.
I think there, more often than not, is tragedy in Malice.
Speaking of Malice, do you want to talk about some of this cast?
I will start by saying everyone in this movie does a good job. These are all great actors. But there's one other thing that connects them all.
They're all white.
They're white as fuck. There is one person of color in this movie. And it's Danny Glover. Unfortunate news came out, I think, this past week or two. Recently diagnosed with dementia, I believe. Which is a shame. He's a wonderful character actor who I love. And the other thing is, like, I've been talking a lot about how this movie famously bombed.
Yeah.
I felt like part of the reason it bombed is because you had to pay Val Kilmer at the height of his power, Ray Fiennes coming off an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Steve Martin and Martin Short being legendary comedians of their time. Michelle Pfeiffer coming off like her 20 Oscar nominations.
Jeff Goldblum for like 10 lines.
Jeff Goldblum coming off Jurassic Park, I believe. Yes. Jurassic Park was like 93, 94, so when they started production on this, he would have been coming off of
immediately, yes.
Patrick Stewart, who is a legendary actor already about this. Like, you had to pay all of these people. And again, they're all good in it. Ray Fiennes actually delivers one of my favorite vocal performances in this movie. But my other thing is, like, you probably didn't have to hand out all of these heavy paychecks. Sandra Bullock, too, was, coming into her own. You probably didn't have to hand out all these paychecks to, like, these very prestige actors when you could have hired voice actors. And then also, it would have been nice to have some, non-white people. Ideally Egyptians, but I love these actors. You probably should have went a different direction with the cast, though. If you're making a movie about the story of Exodus, why is everybody white? Those downsides being said, this movie's incredible.
This movie has really good animation.
Beautiful
what stuck out to me was the opening after Deliver Us. Horses are hard to draw. So drawing that much stylized horses, man, rest in peace whoever animated those horses.
I think that's something this animation nails too, is just the scale of everything. When they're rolling the chariots down the Sphinx or whatever it was.
Even when the plagues are happening.
Oh my god, beautiful.
Wide scenes of all this destruction happening. Even like when they're dancing in Through Heaven's Eyes, which I like the messaging of that song too. It's sort of this on what it means to be a good person. Something
I can admire about religion, despite not being a religious man myself, is if handled the right way, it's less so it's not about you have to kill for God, but it's about how do you take yourself and how can you make the world a better place.
You were mentioning, I did want to hear more of your thoughts, how this is a Bible story. This is commonly said. It's a Bible story, but you don't have to believe to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
It captures sort of the best of this story without being preachy.
Yeah. So here's my thought on it. They should have made 1,000 more of these. Like, if DreamWorks right after this did, like, the story of Cain and Abel, dog, I am
that would be cool.
Fucking there. Because here's my thing.
Locked in.
Here's my thing with Bible stories. They're stories. Whether or not you believe these things literally happened, or you're just trying to take the ethics from them, or you're just reading them for a good time, no matter what, they're stories. They could be adapted and molded in different ways. That's every, biopic is a story, even if it's true, that's molded to fit a narrative. So no, I'm not a religious man. And unlike Ashton, I wasn't even raised with any religion. I was raised in a completely secular house. These are stories. They're ethics tales. They're and when I say this, they're gonna sound insulting, and I do not mean it to be insulting, but they're fairy tales. Whether or not you believe these things literally happened or not, that's just what they are. You take the ethics you can from it. And that's why I think this movie is so amazing, is because it does not matter if you believe in God or not. That character is God. That character is Moses. You're in for the ride. I wish they did more Bible stories like this.
I talk down like this. It would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Another one that doesn't really talk
not
down
at all.
To kids.
Another one where they kill a bunch of kids. How Moses embraces the unknown with this.
He definitely does.
I mean, that's the whole thing. He walks out on everything he knew just to cleanse his soul.
And that takes a lot of fucking guts. That's another person who's brave.
He left everything.
It takes also a lot of bravery to admit when you've done something
when you're part of the problem. And especially in Moses' case in this film, he's constantly met with people doubting him. Even Aaron doubts him. But his
own supposed brother.
Yeah. He is adamant, and this is what he has to do. It's similar to, this is going to be a crazy connection, Miss Brisby in our last film. This is just what you have to do to make things better. And while for Miss Brisby, it was just for her kid, which might be more brave, but for Moses, it's on this macro scale of, the
entire
Hebrews of Egypt.
People that are the Hebrews of Egypt that are enslaved.
Yeah.
It's not just brave for him to leave his home and know that he is the problem and embrace this culture that's been that he is a part of, but it's been unknown to him for so long. But then to go back and embrace the unknown further by sort of using this power that's unknown, this power that for a while, through the songs, you kind of get the sense that these people feel abandoned by God. So for God to come back and say, I'm here to help you, it feels alien.
Moses absolutely does all of this on nothing more than faith.
Faith that he did not grow up in.
Not only faith, but also the idea that this is the right thing to do.
Which is the opposite of what Ramses, who was has been beat over the head at this point, that he has to do everything by tradition or else he is disservicing the family lineage. Do we want to do final questions?
Yeah, I saw you wrote some final questions here.
Yes. So my final questions: where between magic and science does progress lie?
When you turn left at Albuquerque.
That's awesome.
Truthfully, I will actually answer that question, because I have a fascination of ethics. I think in everything you have to do, and I include science in this, I also include arts in this, and this is literally the basis of ethics. And magic isn't real in our boring-ass world, but, if I was to include that too, it would be when it stops being in service of humanity. When we're creating stuff to almost put people down further, that's when it stops becoming civilized to me. And I think that's a big problem in science and engineering now, is we've made leaps and bounds in the last 20 years. I think people don't really realize how fast science and technology has progressed. So now we're kind of just creating shit without asking about the ethics of it. This is where the whole generative AI comes in. At what point does that service humanity? I think ethics is a ridiculously important part of not just science or politics or anything, but of art, of, everything. I think people should constantly be thinking about the ethics of something.
On that note, too, I think you kind of answered this earlier, but how can we embrace the unknown in today's society while considering ethics?
I would say everything is scary right now. Everything. Turn on the news. We started this episode kind of half joking about how the state Ashton and I live in and both, love and helped create us is enveloped in smoke. Like,
Yes.
if there's not a better analogy for everything going on right now, everything is terrifying. And it makes so much sense. It's something I think we all kind of default to, is you almost just want to curl up in your bed and you want to block the world out. But that's only going to make things worse. You kind of have to take that leap of constantly being informed, doing whatever it is you can to make the world a better place. I think you have to do that. And you'll never know if it's going to work. Never.
Just like these characters.
Yeah. Moses doesn't know for sure he's going to free all the slaves.
Mrs. Brisby doesn't know the owl isn't going to eat her.
Yeah. But you kind of have to take that leap because it is the right thing to do. That's what embracing the unknown is. That's what I believe bravery and strength is being able to look at an issue and be like, I have to solve this even though I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yes.
And again, while considering ethics, Ashton and I talked about this a lot, but we talked about it a lot on a recent episode when we were talking about Persepolis. You always have to keep your neighbor in mind. Whoever your neighbor is, it's the neighboring country, it's whatever. You have to keep your fellow man in mind. You have to realize that these politicians are not, the masses. They're not the people. I don't blame, the Jewish people for the slaughter in Palestine. I blame the Israeli government.
Yes.
Everything.
100%.
Everything is ethics. Every decision
Yes.
you make is, whether or not you're doing it consciously, bound in ethics.
I think that's a good answer.
We watched a lot of rats die today.
We watched a lot of rats and kids die.
A lot of rats and kids dying, and then had to talk about ethics. Ethics.
I mean, yeah.
Don't kill children and rats.
These are two movies made by ex-Disney employees that ask moral and philosophical questions to kids.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's something you and I talk about frequently, in our personal lives, is kind of the bastardization of children's media.
Yes.
It's something we touched on in the Toy Story episode and when we did Wendell and Wild, where I think people so want to handle kids with, like, these oven mitts now. But they can handle more. And they should. Because if you can scare them. Scare them. If you want to put them in like this big old bubble, they're never going to know life outside of it. We all have formative memories of what movies scared us or challenged us in one way or another. And I think those make us so much more human than whatever fucking Moana live action film could do. Because you're just half-assing something. Everyone, give a round of applause for Ashton. Ashton running point this episode after escaping the cube.
Yay!
The unknown of the cube, if you will. Anyway, come back, join us next week. We've got another big episode coming up. We are going to be talking about 3 different Spider-Man. We're gonna rank them just like we did with Superman last month. I'm so excited to give you one of my takes on Spider-Man.
I'm so interested to hear, but save it.
But yeah, join us next week. We'll be talking about Spider-Man. In the meantime, Ashton, thank you for joining me, talking about some embracing the unknown animated films.
It's been a vibe.
Perhaps too many. I've been KJ Collelo.
I'm Ashton Byrne.
Bella ciao, y'all.
Bella ciao.